Israel's Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman says he opposes issuing an apology to Turkey at a meeting convened by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel has no reason to apologize to Turkey. Improving relations with Turkey is in the interests of both countries, but this should not come only at the cost of Israeli interests, he said. At a ministerial meeting Sunday, the Israeli ministers mulled drafting an agreement to end the diplomatic crisis between the two countries that erupted following Israel's raid on a Gaza-bound flotilla in May last year, which resulted in the deaths of 9 Turkish activists. Turkey has demanded that Israel issue a formal apology for the activists' deaths and compensate their families. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan said he will visit the Gaza Strip if Israel refuses to do so. Iran's parliamentary speaker Ali Larijani condemned the assassination of an Iranian nuclear scientist, blaming Israel and the United States for his death. At an open session in the parliament on Sunday, Larijani said the attack Saturday was another example of American Zionist animosity against Iran. Larijani advised US officials to consider the consequences of their actions. Dariush Rejenejad, a 35-year-old postgraduate student, was gunned down on Saturday afternoon by 2 unknown terrorists as he and his wife were on their way to their daughter's kindergarten, the Fars news agency reported. He was shot in the neck and the assailants then chased his wife. Initially, Iranian media reports said Dariush Rezai, a 35-year-old physics professor, was killed and not a student. Scores of demonstrators demanding military rulers speed up reform changes in the country were injured in clashes with Egyptian security forces in Cairo. The demonstrators, who marched to the defense ministry in the capital demanding changes, were confronted with opponents who threw stones and firebombs at them. Security forces also opened fire at them in an effort to disperse them. The Supreme Council of the Armed Forces has been ruling the country since the ouster of former President Hosni Mubarak. Saturday's march was organized to coincide with July the 23rd, the day a military coup toppled Egypt's monarchy in 1952, Egyptian media reported. Syrian authorities said terrorists and criminals were responsible for the derailing of a train en route to Damascus Saturday, in which the driver was killed and 14 passengers injured. The authorities were quick to blame the 4-month uprising against President Bashar Assad for the crash. However, opponents of the regime were quick to counter the claim, saying the anti-government demonstrations seeking the president's ouster are peaceful. Over 1,600 civilians have been killed by Syrian security forces since the anti-government demonstrations erupted in March. Hundreds more have been detained by the authorities, and Amnesty International has raised fears that many of those detained are subject to torture. Israeli youth are highly motivated to serve in combat units, according to details released by the army ahead of the summer draft that began Sunday and will continue until the beginning of next month. According to the army, 73.3% of youth eligible to serve in combat positions have asked to serve in combat units. An Israeli military official said the Golani Brigade heads the list of combat units youth seek to serve in. The army also noted that the number of recruits joining aerial defense units in order to facilitate the deployment of the Iron Dome anti-missile defense system has also increased. Several months ago, Israel deployed 2 batteries in the south who successfully intercepted rockets fired at Israeli communities from the Gaza Strip.